Okay. Now I'm going to turn it over to Cynthia Annett to tell us about her project, working on a tribal consultation toolkit with many different agencies. I don't know if I can give them all justice by listing them, so I'll let you talk about it. Thank you, Cynthia.
Do you screen share from my hand? Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go. There it is. Okay, so some of you were in Raleigh's in my session. I'm a Google Earth outreach trainer. And so rather than developing maps myself, what I do is I help communities, particularly tribes all throughout North America and the Alaska Native villages, to develop projects. So they may have a need that they've started and they've gotten in trouble. I was just up in Montana working with Raleigh because the Blackfeet found out that Google Earth was a great way of looking for buffalo jumps, and they went to see Dee and they stayed up all night for a week, and they mapped out like 1,665 points on Google Earth and then got lost. And so we spent 3 days in a workshop making it manageable. I love projects like that. So usually I work on projects as a trainer where people have gotten like 2/3 of the way through, they have a great idea, they've got a horrendous amount of information, and the map blows up. And then we spend a week or sometimes a year sorting it out and making it manageable. I love things like that. So this particular project, this is a new Google site that is used to house this project. This particular project got started because the 30 tribes in Arizona got really tired of hearing that it's just too hard to consult because there's so many tribes and it's so difficult to figure out who's where, that the state agencies were not going through and properly consulting because they were saying, well, it's just very difficult to figure out who to contact. So the tribes and the state historic preservation officers got together and decided to make, this is my term, this is not anybody else's term, this is respectful, it's my term, decided to make an idiot-proof way of consulting, idiot-proof way of figuring out who it is to contact. If you are, for example, putting through a pipeline, or you're putting through a road, or you're putting through a park, or you're going to put in solar panels, or something wonderful or something terrible, you still have to be able to find all the different tribes that have historic claims in the areas and do a proper consultation. So how do you do that? How do you make it easy? Well, I started off actually in Arizona a couple of years ago at the invitation of the American Indian Language Development Institute. And they wanted to do some workshops where we figured out how to motivate young people to be more enthusiastic about language memorization program by using phones and making maps. We had some great workshops, but over the course of the workshops, everybody started deciding, you know what, these tools are pretty easy. Like you just heard, the tools can be easily and intuitively used by the community and openly shared. And that actually leads us to some ideas about data sovereignty, because the community can get behind driving the maps themselves rather than hiring people to do the maps for them. And that through our trainings, we can help develop that capacity. So rather than having a consultant or a GIS office or someone actually getting a graduate degree or something like that, the community can come together, take control of their own data, take the stewardship of their own data, and stewardship of their own maps, and decide whether or not they want to share them. And data sovereignty is a really important issue for a lot of tribes now. Well, I just want to show you this wonderful place we had. This is the most fantastic place we had the first workshop. This is actually the Casa Grande ruins in Arizona, and they were the inspiration for the cultural center at the Gila River reservation. The Gila River community built this, and this doesn't quite get it justice. This is huge. This is the most amazing cultural center. This is like a mountain. This is based off the shape of those Casa Grande rooms. And this is a beautiful state-of-the-art museum that they've developed, museum facility to take care of the baskets. When we were there, I was just so amazed that they had baskets. So this is a very inspirational place to have these workshops. Well, after that, we actually wound up finding excuses to have several workshops. Over the course of that, they came up with this great idea of using my maps. Well, the first map that they produced, and this is one where they got a hold of me over, is my connection not working? The first map that we dealt with was a tribal claims map that they started to put together of the 30 tribes in Arizona. And they came to me and showed it to me and said, we're lost, because this is what it looked like. And you can see that there's a lot of overlapping claims and there's a lot of different layers to them. And you know, it just wasn't manageable. You know, it was one of those projects where you've got all those polygons, and how are you going to deal with it? So what we came up with was this idea that they wanted to be able to point to a place and have all the tribes that those overlapping layers do that and pull up all of the tribes for that spot. But they didn't want to do any programming. They didn't want to do any API work. They didn't want to use any consultants. They didn't want to do any of that because they wanted to have control of it. They wanted to paint. They wanted to understand it. And they wanted to be able to drive it. And all of you know that it's always harder to do something simple than to do something hard. You know, it's a lot easier just to bring in someone who knows API or go into ArcGIS and fix it. But that's not what they want. They wanted to do it themselves. I really respected this. So the whole group got together with this idea of, well, what's a layer that is like off the shelf, easily available, that is kind of small enough to work? And they came up with the USGS quadrants, so the topo maps. So all the United States, all the Arizona is divided into squares. And the squares are small enough to be meaningful for consultation, but large enough to kind of be some leeway. So if you point here and you're within like a mile of where you're going to build a road, it's still going to catch you. You know, so it's kind of area, having a slightly larger area rather than a pinpoint. Erring on the side of a slightly larger area actually is more meaningful, because if someone's putting a pipeline a half mile from you, that pipeline still is fixed, right? So even if it's a little bit outside of your consultation area, they should still consult with you. So this is how it works. You point to an area and you get a panel coming up. So it's just a regular My Maps. But then they wanted to be able to make it easy to maintain, because you want to be able to curate it. And you've got 30 tribes curating this together, right? So how do you curate it in such a way that anytime someone changes jobs or anytime something changes, the phone number changes, or email changes, you don't have to go through and rebuild the whole thing? So the solution they came up with, which I thought was brilliant, was the map inside these quadrangles are built in links to pages on a Google site, okay? And you click on them, and the Google site opens up to that page, okay? But you don't, if any of you have ever managed these projects, you don't want 30 people editing the same Google site. Because something's gonna, I once had a wonderful graduate student who I had 11 the door, and she didn't want anybody to see her work. So she went through and she took everybody off the commission while she was working on it, and took herself off. So there's this Google site floating out there with no owner. So you don't necessarily want to have 30 people editing a Google site. So instead, the solution they came up with was every tribe has its own Google Doc. They can do anything they want with that Google Doc. And anytime they change the Google Doc, it's in the Google site connected to the map. So every tribe, they're responsible for updating their own Google Doc. If they don't update it, then they can't complain if they're not consulted. They're responsible for it. It works out really great. Everybody's happy with it. In some of the tribes, like the Salt River Pima-Maricopa community, they have put a lot of effort into the consultation process. And so you can see they've added several Google Docs in it and links, and have given some really serious thought. And now this Salt River is working with the other tribes to help them to build more information into the Google site. So this is the new Google sites. It's very lovely. You can also get to it through, if you want to go directly, instead of going through the map, you can go through this page. This was designed by Nazpa Thin, who's one of my graduate students, who's a Navajo environmental scientist and also a weaver. And so she thinks of the new Google site. She came up with this idea of it's like using a rug. So she layers each. It's really lovely. So you can go directly to it. So that is this project. The nice thing is that you can also call it up on your phone. So if you are a state agency in Arizona, you can call them on the phone, you can call them at the phone. If you're out in the field, you can pinpoint where you are. You can get the direct links to the consultation protocols. Have no excuse not to make a phone call. So that was their solution. And since it's a Google map and it's just a series of Google Docs that they have to curate, the way the project looks is there's 3 kind of curators who have a Google Drive folder, have 30 tribal Google Drive folders in it. Each one has the Google Doc. The overall folder also has the map and the sites. So it's one folder that contains this entire project that can be passed back and forth over time. And each of the tribes can curate their own information.